Hey, what's going, y'all? It is yours truly once again. Yeah, I was thinking to myself while I was just outside here chilling, a lot came to my mind. Now, we all have heard of the terminology son husbands, but hence my title. What if I were to tell you that there were also son providers? Now, this is what I mean because it actually is interchangeable with son husbands, but to some extent it is not. It can be totally separate. I'll try to go over both to the best of my ability. Let's go in. Well, this thing about a son husband. Well, there's some affection to that, right? Even some type of intimacy, and it eventually comes off as very perverted. So I guess with that said, son husband has more so an emotional type of circumstance to it, whereas son provider doesn't necessarily have to have an emotional aspect to it. And this is what I mean, because a lot of times you might have an old 304 and she's done with the streets, but no man wants to be around her. She's all used up, she's all used up. Her mileage is high. Her body count is high, things like that. And nobody just wants anything to do with her. Maybe she has lost her mind. Who knows? And no pun intended. But with that said, no one wants to be around her, but she knows how to get her son to help her. She knows how to, have her son do things for her. Mama's boy. And son will do what he can for her, right? Son will provide for her. Son will make sure that she's taken care of. I know in the scripture it says, honor your mother and your father, for your days will be well with thee, and you shall dwell long if on the earth, or dwell for a long time on the earth. I get that scripture. However, in the way of her being honored by you, she must be honorable in many ways. And I say that because she'll just be trying to use you. Yeah, talking to you, sir. Your mama gonna be using you. You don't want your mama to be using you. You gonna honor her to the best of your ability, though. But you still have a life to live. You have to do what you need to do. And you can't let her use you like that, take up all your time, and sometimes even hinder you from getting married. Because sometimes mothers like to sabotage their sons from being married because she wants him to be the provider of her, not his future wife to be. And of course, at my channel, I don't necessarily even say provider. I say that a man doesn't provide. He shares what he has worked hard for. Well, man, you got to share all that you've worked hard for with your mom. You can't share that with a wonderful and beautiful woman of your life. Like, to me, that's like a bad deal there, Yeah, I love my moms more than anybody else, but I know I got a life of my own too. And, definitely would want to share a lot of things with a beautiful and wonderful woman. That's kind of where my mind's at, right? So not necessarily me trying to be a mama's boy at all, right? But a lot of mothers do sabotage their son from that standpoint too. Like, what if she could be on danger watch and things like that? And it's kind of hard to get the mom in the system right away. So somebody has to give her a place to stay in the meantime until intervention takes place. Whether it's drug related on her part or just psychiatric, who knows? But still, it's a tough deal, and she got to go somewhere. She can't just be on the streets. Like, you ain't gonna put your mom on the streets. But you got some guys that might be like that, and I'm not even bashing a guy that just be like, I can't do nothing for my mom like that. She on her own. I'm not even saying nothing about that either. But that's just what it's like, though. For the son provider. But see, you can mix son provider and son husband together. Because, yes, there have been cases where incest has occurred amongst a son and a mother, where he did not even want the father around to, provide for his mom if he felt his father was being shady towards his own mom. And the boy and his mom, they got really close, I guess, right? So to where like she just felt comfortable with her son, making sure she was taken care of, roof over her head, clothes on her back, food to eat, etc. And, literally her son ended up her caretaker, but who knew there was this type of perverted romance going on between the two. So yeah, that kind of gives y'all an idea of the mixture of the son husband and son provider. But yeah, I think there's more of a rise of the son provider thing. As you see a lot of these 304s, they can't make it on the street no more. So they're going to be trying to call their son up. And son like, why you ain't got no man? Why you ain't got no husband? I got my own wife and family over here, So, ladies, to the ones that aren't being greater, you're being lesser. You got to be careful out here. Because not every son is trying to provide for you like that. He's going to be thinking you should have a man around. And why are you running around with all these different men? You shouldn't be doing that, right? And, some sons have to deal with the repercussion, like especially if their mom is a celebrity. He like, man, I don't even want to talk about my mama, man. Or let's just say everybody in the hood knew about her. But he came up to be a decent guy. But he hates to have to harken back to the way his mom was and the fact that his mom's still calling him up, asking him for things, and yet she can't even make herself a decent wife, right? Can't even make herself a decent wife to where a man would want to share his hard earnings with her. You got to keep trying to hold the sun back. You can't hold the sun back. It ain't gonna always be night. It's not. And so I guess from my standpoint and based on just kind of how I've looked at life, it's just always important to have a balance of the father and the mother around so that one can always realize that's the way it's supposed to be, so that this idea of a son provider shouldn't even have to be. Nothing wrong with a son showing up in an emergency. Okay, that's different, but not as like a provider. Thanks a million.